everybody's sympathies come to you, and it turns out it was none of that was true.
Wow, Mayor Emanuel getting after him, Greg.
Yeah, that's I haven't seen him that mad since Chick-fil-A.
And what do you think about Smollett's lawyers blaming the system?
I wrote that down. It's the system, and again, they're using the terms that they hope ingratiate with the media. It's like, blame the system. I am oppressed. This guy wasn't oppressed. He was making 60 to 100,000.
Holland, he's involved in crisis management and has done a lot of big cases, celebrity cases, and things like that. And he said that it is often the case that somebody who is the perpetrator of such a thing doesn't even realize. Like, truly does not realize how much trouble they are in. And do we have the shot? Oh, we have the shot. Let's play that.
In almost every case I've ever seen, they genuinely believe themselves to be victims. Even if they did the thing they're accused of, the rationale is, I had a reason that people like you just don't understand.
And they're right, like, I don't understand. But should I?
Yeah, well, he's facing hard time, especially if the feds catch him on that terrorism beef. I like the old Greg Gutfeld.
Which is?
I like the unforgiving, tough as nails Greg.
Yeah.
I don't like this new forgiving Greg.
No, he's dead. It's a resolution. I'm going to forgive those who are truly victims.
Okay, well, I will not forgive anybody, okay? And
wait. Let me just tell you something. I hate these people. There's a Greg.
Yeah, that's more like it.
There's Greg.
All right.
I will not forgive, though, Smolet's legal team, because I think they're being totally asinine. They have now victimized the Chicago Police Department and the city twice. Smollett sandbagged the police department, sent them on all these wild goose chases after they gave him the benefit of the doubt, made him waste all this time and money, and now the legal team's coming out and saying they're corrupt, this is a political prosecution, and there's an injustice taking place. That is the dumbest possible strategy I could ever imagine them taking. If I were them, I would say, innocent until proven guilty, my client will wait till all the facts came out. Maybe there's some more things that no one knows about, and then I would hunker down and go dark. What they're doing to him is a betrayal of what they should be doing as attorneys, because they're landing him in more trouble, because now the police hate him even more.
Right, because they're trying to make him a double victim.
Right.
One, because he was the fake victim of the perpetrated hoax, and now he's the victim of a system that apparently is trying to sentence him before he has his day in court.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing. But yeah, they're making him out to be the victim. So what fascinated me was reading that yesterday he went to the set of the show. And he goes to the set of the show and apparently is crying heavily. He makes the crew wait 30 minets and then says...
He's like Jesse.
Don't ever do that.
Oh, my God.
Don't ever say
Wait a second. What's the line on the show? Where's Juan? It's Juan that makes everybody wait.
All right. So he goes and he's crying. Yeah, I haven't seen you cry yet. But he's crying.
Just wait till the Mueller report comes out.
You thought I was going to cry.
Who knows?
All right. So anyway, he not only cries, but then he says to the crew, to the people he works with daily, that he's not guilty.
Yep.
And he promises them that this is true. He is a man of dignity and faith and integrity. I don't know what's going on.
So let's take a listen to Charles Barkley. He had comments on this, and we'll get Emily's thoughts.
America, let me just tell you something. What's that? Do not commit crimes with checks. Come on, man. You cannot, if you're going to break the law, do not write a check. Because you're writing a check that what? Behind cash. I never used an ATM. Now, you can only, I heard you can only get $200 out of Charles. 500. Stop, literally. You got to make a lot of stops to the ATM. You know what you should have did? What's that? Just went up in Liam Neeson's neighborhood. You could have solved all your damn problems.
That was a great line. That was excellent.
I mean, we're having, obviously, the Chicago Police Department in Chicago is not laughing, but that was a little moment of levity.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, and I liked the humor that it brought to it. I will say, I obviously agree with you.
Obviously. I like you, Emily.
Let me rephrase.
You're fired.
As an attorney, I agree with you that the strategy deployed right now by his legal team is it's surprising, and they are calling attention to the wrong aspect, to the wrong angle. And you are right that they should have been behind the scenes doing all that they can to mitigate what is, frankly, a personal offense being taken by the city of Chicago. Right? We've seen the mayor, we've seen the superintendent. That city is not forgiving anyone anytime soon. And interestingly, you know, I see this kind of digging in and refusing to admit anything. oftentimes when the weight of the government comes and turns its eye to you. But here, it could literally be some type of case of narcissism, whereas you were saying earlier, when you honestly believe that you are in the right and that no matter what, even if you acknowledge the physical execution of something, that you're not actually guilty. That's what Bill Cosby is doing from prison right now.
Is he misremembering? Didn't we have? When did we last talk about misremembering?
Ryan Williams?
Recovered memories or something like that. I don't know. I think that he can't afford to confess yet. Oh, I think what he's going to do, though, is he's going to talk about a drug problem,
yeah,
because that's what I would do. Hey, you know what I think?
But let me just say, that won't get him off, Greg.
Yeah.
Because what we saw from Rahm Emanuel, what was really great was emotion. And Rahm Emanuel said his mother came to, when she was in Chicago, was working for racial justice. And he says what Smollett did, and I think Barkley picked up on this, he's making it harder now for people because racists will say that anybody who says that they are a victim is a liar.
Well,
bigots will say that it's okay in terms of homophobia.
Well, hopefully that is not true. And I'll say
that's the worst way to look at it.
And law enforcement actually took him seriously for
widespread investigation into an international human trafficking ring. The billionaire denying the charges. Trace Gallagher standing by with the latest developments. Trace.
And one, police say there is videotape to back up their claim. The 77-year-old Kraft is accused of paying for sexual acts at Orchids of Asia Day Spa in Jupiter, Florida, which is about 90 miles north of Miami. That spa and 9 others around the state have now been shut down following a months-long human trafficking investigation that investigators say showed that numerous women were involved in, quote, sexual servitude, even alleging that some of the women were not allowed to leave the premises. We should note Kraft is not being accused in any way of being involved in human trafficking. But police say they have video of Kraft and others receiving the sexual acts and that he participated 2 separate times. The Jupiter police chief says he was equally shocked to learn that Kraft, who's worth $6 billion, was paying for sex in a strip mall massage parlor. A spokesperson for the New England Patriots says, quoting, "We categorically deny that Mr. Kraft engaged in any illegal activity because it is a judicial matter. We will not be commenting further." The NFL also weighed in, quoting again, "The NFL is aware of the ongoing law enforcement matter and will continue to monitor developments." And earlier, President Trump responded to the allegations. Watch.
Well, it's very sad. I was very surprised to see it. He's proclaimed his innocence totally, but I'm very surprised to see it.
Bob Kraft's wife of 48 years died of ovarian cancer back in 2011. He reportedly is now dating a 39-year-old woman. And, of course, just a few weeks ago, his Patriots won their 6th Super Bowl title. These are misdemeanor charges, meaning they don't normally carry jail time. Juan.
Trace, thanks so much. Emily, ESPN's Adam Schefter said Robert Kraft's not even the biggest name on this list. Oh, let's listen. Oh, here's the shot.
There are people down there in that area, I'm told, who say that this story is going to heat up and get a lot worse. And I don't mean involving Robert Kraft. I'm talking about with all the human trafficking that has gone on down there. I'm also told that Robert Kraft is not the biggest name involved down there in South Florida, and we'll see what police turn up in the report.
Well, so when Adam Schefter says, see what police turn up, part of the urgency of this is the video. Apparently, police had cameras inside the Orchid of Asia spa and actually have video of these sex acts taking place. What does that mean in a legal sense to you?
Yes, you've said a couple things. So number one, the surveillance video that was used, to answer your last question first, what it means is there's pretty much, that could be slam dunk evidence, right? And these charges of engaging in an act with prostitution, that kind of lower level crime, then that slam dunk. But I want to have the larger picture fleshed out for viewers for a moment, which is that this is a multi-county, multi-country human trafficking investigation. And the reason why Florida is particularly ripe for this, last year they did a similar investigation. They arrested 277 individuals for the same kind of thing. Prostitution on the low end up to human trafficking. The sheriff of one of those counties in Florida, he said this is the tip of the iceberg. And he anticipates hundreds of arrests as well. 100 in terms of engaging in the acts, because that particular spa had up to 20 men a day staying there for 30 to 60 minutes, but up to larger charges. And so I think in the federal government, we just slammed 5 Mexican nationals for participating in a human sex trafficking ring, sentencing them to 25 years in prison. So this is something that the DOJ, and particularly the state of Florida, have invested a tremendous amount of resources to, and it's not just that spa. So I think it's important to make sure that we keep that global view on it, because yes, to come are hundreds of arrests coming out of the sheriff's mouth.
Well, we saw in Atlanta at the Super Bowl, there were a lot of arrests last year in Minneapolis at the Super Bowl, but people say it's not just the Super Bowl. This is an ongoing issue, such as at this strip mall, Jesse.
Well, I mean, he's a billionaire, and he's never going to serve any jail time. It's just an embarrassment for him. He's innocent until proven guilty. I have no idea what happened. Listen, people, make jokes about it. They don't think it's a big deal. They say everybody, does it. But at the same time, if women are being trafficked and held against their will, then obviously those are the people that you need to look out for, and it's not a victimless crime. So, he'll fight the charges, and he'll probably get off.
But you're not happy about that.
No, I'm not happy. Why would you think I'm happy?
No, I mean, you were just kind of like,
well,
that's
the way it goes. I think he has to have an emotion about it.
Yeah. I'm an Eagles fan, Juan.
Okay.
Well, I would say the other thing that has changed is that there has been an increased focus on human trafficking because it has gone up. The American people, actually, unfortunately, one of the #1 consumers of human trafficking and sex slaves. And so that there has been a concerted effort by the Justice Department under Obama and continued under President Trump and advanced under President Trump to try to crack down on people who are trafficking women. And it's not just women. Sometimes this happens to men as well. It's not always sex slaves. It can sometimes be slavery. Like you get told, oh, we're going to get you this visa. You're going to get to come to America, and we're going to send you to college. But you find out, oh, in order to go to college, you actually have to clean this hotel for pennies until you can get out of debt. The trick is, right, you never get out of debt. So I'm interested in the fact that it is an international one. It is multi-county, but I also think that it's multi-month. If you go back, I think this has a lot of tentacles, and the Justice Department should be praised for trying to figure out who the real perpetrators are.
Greg, unless you have something immediate to add, I just wanted to switch a little bit to R. Kelly.
Yes.
And ask you, R. Kelly, 52 now, indicted. I don't know if you saw this documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, but I think this has prompted not only law enforcement to focus on him, but additional people to come forward.
2 points. The R. Kelly scandals have been going on for so long that they're officially older than his victims. Yeah. And what's interesting to me is that Avenatti is back. Yeah. He handed over a videotape of him R. Kelly engaging in sex with an underage girl to the Chicago police. Avenatti has more lives than Super Mario. Yeah. I almost have to hand it to him that it's like he just pops up again. There he is. He's the Super Mario.
20% top tax rate.
If you make more than $10 million in 1 year, which is a pretty good year, your 10 millionth and $1 gets taxed at 70%, which, by the way, we used to have marginal tax rates under Republican presidents of 90%. It really comes down to the question of, isn't 10 million enough? Like, when does it stop?
Ocasio-Cortez and her controversial colleagues also downplaying Rashida Tlaib's profane call to impeach President Trump.
Rashida got into a little bit of trouble for saying a boo-boo word.
Oh, basically a word we say every 5 minutes on our show.
Oh, yes, exactly. So I hit up Rashida, I sent her a text, and I was like, don't worry about it. Like, this, I mean, who cares? And and she was like, yeah, I mean, I'm from Detroit. Like, back there, that's just what we call guy.
Yeah.
No, it's honestly, that's saying that guy.
Yeah.
That, like, the double standard in that is that guy never gets in trouble for all of the boo-boo words he
uses. That's right.
I mean, I think we have a beef with almost everyone here because there's a lack of courage.
Right.
And it seems like we're all radical because we deeply care about the people that we represent and we want to throw down for them.
Question for you, Juan. How is it that there's a pride in being radical because they want to throw down for their constituents, but yet they have also said why they don't want to fund ICE, for example, is because of ICE's radical agenda? How can they pick and choose what is the good kind of radical?
That's not hard. You can pick the right side of history, to use a cliche. But, I mean, what they're worried about is their constituents, and I think they have every right to do that. They say they want to throw down for their constituents. Boy, it sounds like a politician out there looking for votes. I think the problem would be, for example, you know, the accusations, and I think in this case, legitimate accusations of anti-Semitic rhetoric when you're talking about the Benjamins and Israeli influence. But when it comes to things like, you know, Social Security, Medicare, and the like, and even the high tax rate in this era of income inequality, I don't think they're that radical because most Americans, according to the polls, agree with them.
Until they read.
Jesse, at what point is that going to catch up to them?
Well, I mean, I'm not that irritated by them. I don't like what they say. I kind of like how they say it. It's fresh. They'd probably get along with President Trump if they put politics aside. You know, they'd go down to Mar-a-Lago, probably whoop it up. I want to talk about taxes, though.
Wait a minute.
I want to talk about taxes, though. No, they seem fun. They seem, you know, young and exciting, and, you know, they seem normal. But with a 70% tax rate deal, okay, over $10 million, all right, it's enough money. Tell Floyd Mayweather he can't have another car, who's worked his way up from nothing, who worked his butt off. Tell Serena Williams to her face, you know, Serena, I'm AOC, I'm going to tell you you can't have that vacation home. Tell LeBron James, who donates a lot of money to charity, you know what, it's enough. You don't get to take home anymore. If you look at Beyonce, I'd love her to look Beyonce in the face, who made $60 million last year. Under her plan, she gets to take home $20 million, not $30. So $10 million Beyonce has to give to the feds and let AOC play around with it. It's Beyonce's money. That's money for her kids, her grandkids. She spends that on the local economy. What's really going to happen here is these rich people are just going to put these millions or whatever in these sophisticated instruments that hide the taxes and shelter it from the IRS, and they're not going to have to pony it up anyway.
Don't you think there's a rage in the country at the too big to fail crowd?
I don't have any rage. I'm all love, Juan.
Okay. I believe that.
Okay.
Dana, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, you know, for once we're not fighting over what's getting done, we're fighting over how it's getting done. But hasn't that been politics this entire
I think that's
time?
maybe getting a little ahead of herself. It's going to be amazing when AOC is a multimillionaire. Because it's going to happen.
It's going to happen quick.
Yeah, she will do that. She will sell a book. She will, and she might be a public servant for a long time. But as you know, almost every of these leaders that have stayed in Congress for a long time do become millionaires. It will happen to her. I also would like to have her talk to Cardi B. Remember, we had that video from the other day when she was like, wait, what? You're going to take this money from me? I don't think so. So I think these new freshman congressmen, they have an audience. It is a small and energized set of audience. And they believe that the government can do everything better. And there's just the rest of the country does not think that's true. But there will be an interesting debate going forward. It's not just a little bit of things on 70%. It's a big debate coming up, and I'm looking forward to it.
Greg, at what point is that experience going to catch up with them, and are they going to see reality ever that the government can't provide?
As long as they're protected from reality, they never do. So you can be Bernie Sanders, protected from reality as the socialist with 3 homes. It's frustrating because I don't understand how people can buy this crap because they're not talking about creating anything. It's only about taking. There's never any innovation. It's confiscation. How do you want to be part of something that doesn't create or doesn't innovate or build things? Instead, all you do is you look at a successful person and say, I want 70% of what you did. This is the first thing a hard leftist does when they are elected because they have no creative ideas. The first thing they think is take. It's to me, it's evil. Right now, their power is limited, so they can only talk about it. But once they have real power, what are they going to do? And the only way they can exist in this society, in order to be a leftist in which you can take things, you have to have a free market of capitalists to make the things. So without capitalism, you can't have leftism. Basically, capitalism, the free market is the boat. They are the barnacles.
Let me argue with you just a second.
I'm sorry, I'm done one.
If I'm Gordon Gekko and I say to you, greed is good, and bail me out, I'm Wall Street, the other companies will fail. I'm going to take over companies, fire people, send jobs to China, and you guys say, well, that's capitalism.
Well, sooner or later...
That wasn't capitalism, though. To the too big to fail and all that cash we sent to Wall Street, a lot of people didn't think we should have done that.
No, that's what this is about.
No, it's not actually about...
That was the right idea.
It's not about that. It's about punishing the people who make the world work. Sooner or later, they're going to kill the goose. AOC was rejoicing that Amazon left New York City. 25,000 jobs. Imagine the huge tax base. All that stuff gone. They're going to, and the more you do that, you're going to destroy the city you belong to. That's her constituency that she just screwed. Anyway, sorry.
All right, you guys, we got to go. But coming up,
She cheats.
In
Okay,
negative
that
territory.
is a total setup. This happened last time she was reading off the teleprompter.
You're right. I did cheat.
all right, find out why things got testy between Greg and Dana during.
Zion Williamson is down. He blew through his shoe. Yeah. Look at his left shoe. He blew completely through the shoe, and then he started holding his right knee.
Look at that right there. If you can see that, and boom, shoe explodes. So he had a little knee sprain. It's not that bad. Nike stock dropped by over $1 billion, though, before bouncing back a little bit today. Company's still trying to figure out what happened. I mean, Greg, that must happen to you all the time on the court.
Well, it actually happened. It happened to me in the '80s, which is why I retired.
Oh, that's why you retired.
If you remembered, I was.
What were you, the center?
I was a forward for the Pistons.
Forward. Okay.
Yeah, he was 6'7", 280 at that time.
Yeah, exactly. And I had a horrible workplace accident after that, and I'm only half my size.
All right, those were the Duke Blue Devils, Dana, and that
Got
was
that.
basketball.
So, yes, my friend
Ooh,
Judy
he
Mamo.
mansplained.
Yeah, how dare you?
I apologize.
Judy Mama went to UNC. She told me go heel, so she was very happy, but she felt bad for him. Tyrus was on the daily briefing. He, I think, has me convinced that these players should be allowed to go straight to pro.
Well, I don't want to see that. I want to see him at least 1 year so I can watch some great college basketball in March, right?
Yeah, sure. But they should be paid. You see, that's the thing. Because, look, Nike's making money, right? They got a deal with the Blue Devils in terms of supplying the sneakers and all the equipment. The coach is getting paid hugely.
That's true.
I mean, everybody's getting paid except the people who are performing, and that's
And
crazy.
they just have to go to class.
That's true. All right, you convinced me.
No, they don't have to go to class because they're not going to graduate.
Well, at Duke, they maybe make you go to one class.
Hey, do you know why the Devils are blue?
Why is that?
Sad.
What about the Demon Deacons?
Do you have any more college basketball mascot jokes? What do you think?
Just that, Nike lost $1 billion, but they spend $11 billion every year on endorsements and contracts. So the smartest thing they could do is give Zion another pair of shoes, and he wears it.
At least.
I'd sign with Adidas after that explosion.
But that's what I'm saying. The best thing for
Do
Nike.
they make basketball?
Okay, so what should I say?
The Force Awakens.
Can I mention something, though?
What?
You're fine.
If you are a parent and you really want your child to go to an Ivy League school and you're looking to get a scholarship, do you know the best sport?
What? Is it
fencing?
Really?
Oh.
Yes, and Sydney Persing, who was our college associate, remember her? She was here a few summers. She fences for UNC.
I'm going to have to get my twins some fencing lessons.
Yep.
All right, because there's no way they're getting into Ivy League
You know
school.
you know who's also into fencing?
What?
Our president, Donald Trump, down at the border. Fencing should be a sport. We should go down to the border and make fences.
All right, here we go. This is the best part. Things got a little heated during Dana and Greg's final exam rematch on Tucker's show last night, and apparently it's one for the record books. Watch this.
If elected in November of 2020, Bernie Sanders would be the oldest president in American history. How old would he be on Inauguration Day?
She came in early.
77. You're right. I did cheat.
It goes to Greg.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Dana,
you didn't
obviously
know
I'm
the
rooting for you.
answer.
I would say 80, but I already won.
77.
So you're saying 80, Greg?
No, I already won. I'm not answering. I'm taking the fifth. Taking the fifth.
No, you have to answer the question.
Talk to my lawyer. I already
Give the
won.
answer.
You
you say?
said 80.
77.
All right, 77.
77. He'll be 79.
You! That is so. No, we're not doing this anymore. She cheats. So I won with the score of 0. Tucker.
I'm not even sure what to say. My mouth is open. This is the lowest score ever recorded.
0 to -1, Dana.
I've never been more embarrassed. I mean, I actually probably have, but yeah, I did not do well last night. I just had the giggles.
Yeah, very controversial too, Greg.
I think we found a game that actually has lower scoring than soccer. I mean, the fact that I won with 0 is pretty amazing.
That's pretty good.
But I'm sure Bernie Sanders was watching, and I'm sure he's proud of you, right?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I loved
Did
it.
they represent the 5 well?
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I saw it like, live or whatever. I thought you guys were so funny. And it was cute when you were like, I'm so embarrassed. But you said it super deadpan. And you were like, I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then it was relatable. Honestly, it was relatable to see like two.
Relatable to who? You?
Yeah. To see, like,
Hey, take it easy.
Greatest singer. All right, Fan Mail Friday. From Rick Denton. If you received a box with everything you ever lost in it, what would you look for first? Jesse?
Well, my grandmother gave me this very, very special brass fisherman mold, and I put it in my locker, and someone jacked it in middle school. So I'd look for that first. It's a big, shiny object. I'd probably see it.
One?
Well, you know, there's things like baseball cards and jerseys when I was a high school kid. But I think, picking up on what Jesse said, my dad gave me like a gold ornament that hangs off a chain, and I lost it.
A medallion?
It wasn't a medallion. It was like a cross.
I think I took that. Dana?
It was in Jesse's locker.
So, it's interesting because we're all talking about sentimental things. I don't know if I've actually lost this item.
Right, all right.
But I worry that I have, but I have...
Your soul?
You've never lost anything.
My great-grandmother's gold wedding band is what I got married in. I didn't have like a big fancy wedding, a wedding ring, and then I wore it for a long time, and then I put it in a very special, safe place.
But you can't remember?
No.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, so I'd look for that.
Literally, that exact same thing happened to my mom, and I feel like I haven't really lost anything, but she tucked away her mother's wedding ring, and we've all helped her look for it and have it.
It drives
so
you
I would
crazy. You
borrow,
think about it all the time.
I would find that for her.
It's either the Joe DiMaggio baseball card when he was with the Seals that was stolen in my wallet, or my brother Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost Steve in the mall.
Don't forget about your pride, Greg.
Yeah, my pride was gone a long time. You know, I don't miss my pride.
What about your dignity?
Dignity. Those things are a burden. Ooh, this is great. Angie Baby 330. Wait a minute, actually worked well. Now anyway, do you have nightmares/dreams about the show? I know Dana does, right?
Yeah, I have them a lot.
What?
So, in fact, I just had one last week, and it involves Juan that I haven't told anybody about. So I have this dream that I was sitting here, and you three weren't here yet, and Juan and I were sitting here, and he said, Dana, I need to talk to you. We need to have more conflict on this show. Like, you need to have more arguments. Like, we need to get in more fights. And I said, but I just say what I think. I don't really want to fight. And you said, well, the management told me that I needed to
Are you sure this was a dream?
Well, the problem with work dreams is you wake up and you think, was that a dream?
Yeah, yeah.
No, so I had that work dream. Just last week.
That's an interesting dream, Jesse.
Well, you know my policy, Greg. I don't share my dreams. I think it's weak.
That's right.
So I will not be sharing them.
Jesse gets a pass. All right, Emily.
So odd. No, but I have the like unprepared, and then I wake up relieved, like, oh, thank God, that was just a dream. You know.
Yeah. I can't imagine you being unprepared.
What about you, Juan?
Well, doing the show is Juan's nightmare. So.
That's pretty good. No, I think for me it's calming down. So I actually will replay things because that's the kind of person I am. I replay things in my head. I should have said this.
I should have said this to Jesse.
To Jesse, oh yeah. I should have said, Jesse, you're brilliant.
I always dream that I show up naked.
Well, thank you.
And I'm sure a few other people dream that too.
Our nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
All right. I don't know if I like that one. I don't like that one.
Okay.
And all right, you are the last question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and only one call to somebody left. Who would you call, Emily, and why?
Well, what's the topic?
I don't know. I don't watch the show.
Well, I mean, meaning it would depend on the question, obviously.
Does it?
Obviously.
No,
Well,
no.
like, if the question was about
the person's chosen beforehand, right?
You had 3 choices.
Oh, really?
No, you can
I
phone
don't
a
know.
friend. It's open-ended.
Oh, really? It's open-ended.
I think so.
Okay, so you have no friends. What, Jesse?
See, I would know the answer, and then I'd call my dad, and I'd say, hey, Dad, I'm about to win $1 million.
Yeah, that's good.
Dana? I know.
I'd call Peter. He's the personal Google.
The personal Google.
I might call Peter, too.
Yeah.
Juan?
Well, I guess I'd Google it.
Yeah, you can't call Google. You know who I would call? I would call the person who writes the questions
for
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
What if you called Alexa?
Ah, there you go. Alexa. There you go. All right. One more thing is up next.
It was a wolf, but he was taken care of. They put a GPS tracker on him, and this group, the Estonian Union for the Protection of Animals, is going to make sure he is okay going forward. I mean, that's really nice. I mean, animals are great.
You know that dogs are wolves, right?
Well, but a wild wolf and a domestic.
They're all wolves.
Canine
Dogs
are
actually
different.
think they're wolves, just so you know.
Yeah,
This is not a quiz, guys.
I'm going to get it wrong anyway. Juan, go.
All right, so as Dana was saying, we're deep in winter here in the USA. Daylight savings time still a few weeks away, but there's some light to be seen right now. Take a look at this. Yep, that's this week's super snow moon in all its glory.
Lunar moon?
It's the biggest and brightest moon of the year. It appears so large, so bright, because the moon is at its closest point to the Earth for the year.
It's still the same size on TV.
Look at that. You're right. And check this out.
I'll go call my pal Bill. Let's go to Bill, huh? It's a shoe bill stork. And whenever you need a feather, This little guy, he'll always look under it and give you one. Isn't that adorable? I have 7 of these at home. I have feathers all over the apartment, Dana.
I don't really want to know why.
What?
You have feathers all over your apartment.
I think you'd be more concerned that I have 6 shoe-billed storks.
Animals are great.
I always thought storks were imaginary creatures.
Animals are great. Animals are
Remember that's where babies come from? Ladies Dome into a work of art.
Wow.
She is riding a horse, not a stork, a horse. And if you guys tweet at me enough, I will get that in my head.
No, don't do that.
I'm lying. Never touch
Shameless
this.
attempt to
Never
get more
touch this
followers.
masterpiece. Also, Water's World, speaking of masterpieces, 8 p.m. There I have an exclusive with the guy who had a gun pulled to his head for wearing a MAGA hat. Also, the Water's World Awards.
Oh.
Okay, I'm supposed to have a black tie in that picture. Whoever made that
is getting
fired.
Yes.
Yeah, you're such a good boss.
Tune in.
Awards for guests. Am I up for an award?
Tune in. You could be nominated.
I'm a guest on your show. I should be.
All right, Emily, your turn.
All right, sorry. So, you guys, talk about a clever cat. This woman, she couldn't figure out how her roommate's cat kept getting out of the closed bathroom, and so she set up a hidden camera, and then this is what emerged, which is hilarious, and an awesome Houdini cat.
Wow.
Great lower third, guys.
Yeah. I thought it was good.
That's pretty impressive for a cat to figure that out.
And you should go to it on Twitter because the reply videos are all of everyone is replying like, yes, this is what I caught my cat doing and my dog doing, and they're all getting out of doors and closed.
I mean, and of course, cats have no rights about their privacy.
Yes.
Maybe we should talk about that on Monday.
Ooh, lead with it, Dana. That's great.
That's it for us. We'll see you back here on Monday. We clearly need a break. Special report is up next.
Assault by 2 women who are now coming forward to testify, and the connection between President Trump's labor secretary and a wealthy financier accused of having sex with underage girls. We begin with musician R. Kelly, who's been the subject of 2 recent TV documentaries alleging serious
sexual act with a 14-year-old girl. Brett.
Matt, Chicago's been busy. Tomorrow, R. Kelly is scheduled to appear in the same bond court where actor Jussie Smollett also just stood before a judge.
Yeah, that's right. And Jussie Smollett's troubles are getting worse tonight. His character was just written off the show Empire. The executive producers wrote in a statement that Smollett is considered family, but the past 2 weeks have been extremely emotional, saying, quote, "We are also aware of the effects of this process on the cast and crew members who work on our show, and to avoid further disruption on set, we have decided to remove the role of Jamal from the final 2 episodes of the season." Smollett's legal team is fighting back against police and prosecutors here in Chicago, writing in part, quote, "We witnessed an organized law enforcement spectacle that has no place in the American legal system. The presumption of innocence, a bedrock in the search for justice, was trampled upon at the expense of Mr. Smollett." And Smollett is set to appear in court again next month on the charges of filing a false police report, and if convicted, he faces up to 3 years in prison. Brett.
Matt Finn, live in Chicago tonight. Matt, thank you. The most successful team owner in the country's most successful sports league is in trouble tonight. New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft is charged with misdemeanor solicitation of prostitution in Florida. Police in Jupiter say they have videotape of him paying for 2 sex acts inside an illicit massage parlor. Authorities say Kraft has not been arrested. A warrant will be issued, and his attorneys, we're told, will be notified. This afternoon, President Trump was asked about the situation in the Oval Office.
It's very sad. I was very surprised to see it. He's proclaimed his innocence totally, but I'm very surprised to see it.
The charge against Kraft comes amid a widespread crackdown on sex trafficking in that area surrounding Palm Beach County. About 200 arrest warrants have been issued in recent days, and more are expected, according to authorities. A spokesperson for Kraft says he denies engaging in any illegal activity. Now an update on the sexual assault allegations against Virginia's Democratic Lieutenant Governor. It appears Republicans in the state legislature are laying the groundwork for a major investigation. Correspondent Jillian Turner tells us what she's hearing tonight. Good evening, Jillian.
Good evening, Brett. It's been over 2 weeks since 2 women came forward to detail sexual assault allegations against Virginia's Lieutenant Governor, Justin Fairfax. The state's Republicans say until today, there have been crickets from Democrats.
We tried to work diligently with our colleagues across the aisle to create a bipartisan way to investigate. That was declined.
But in a breakout move today, Republicans from the state's House of Delegates said time's up and announced a hearing.
We will invite Dr. Tyson and Ms. Watson to testify. We will also be inviting Lieutenant Governor Fairfax to testify. This will give all parties a chance to be heard.
Meredith Watson's attorney accepted immediately, saying, quote, she looks forward to testifying at this forum, and then echoing a theme familiar from last year's confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, added, quote, it is our understanding that the hearing will be public and televised and be subject to the same rules and requirements, including our right to present witnesses and corroborators. Watson claims Fairfax raped her while both were undergraduate students at Duke University nearly 2 decades ago. And Vanessa Tyson, professor at Scripps College in California, claims Fairfax sexually assaulted her in Boston during the Democratic National Convention of 2004. Both these women have called for Fairfax to resign and have publicly indicated their desire to testify against him. So the big question now is when. Republicans and the alleged victims are eager to get the ball rolling, and this year's General Assembly session ends tomorrow. However, Virginia's Constitution would allow lawmakers to return at a later date, especially to hold this hearing if that's what they want to do. Brett?
Obviously, Governor Northam still has his problems. Jillian, thank you. The Trump administration says it is looking into a judge's conclusion that current Labor Secretary Alex Acosta helped arrange a plea deal with a wealthy financier accused of sexually abusing dozens of underage girls. The judge ruled the agreement for Jeffrey Epstein violated the rights of the victims.
In New York City, and this is the 5. This is a Fox News alert. Big breaking news on several fronts. New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft charged with soliciting prostitution. The billionaire denying the allegations, but police say there's video and to sentencing. Meantime, Chicago leaders continue to criticize Smollett. Mayor Rahm Emanuel saying he put the city at risk.
You have put all those real stories at risk for your fake story. That is not right. That is not right for Chicago. That is not right for what kind of city we are. That is the city I know. That is the city that actually loves people because they love the city, they care, and our common humanity.